What's up, folks? This is Roots. I'm getting ready to review a Twista album, Mobstability, the thing he dropped after Adrenaline Rush. So I've got a little bit of Steak and Shake to help me celebrate this, because this is the kind of album that you grub out to. Back in the day when I used to do songs that you could smoke to, I would definitely say Twista has those in spades. So just take a look at this, nice meaty burger, and I'm getting ready to review, burger and fries, these tracks. So some of the songs that I could definitely get the munchies to, I'll tell you right off the bat, would be Legit Ballers, Smoke With You, and then Front Porch. All of those kind of work, and I would almost say In Your World would, if it had just a little bit of a better beat. I'm going to munch on this, and then I'll continue this segment of me talking about Twista. Alright, folks, so after dining, I'm now going to start to talk about the Mobstability album by Twista and the Speedknot Mobstaz. So basically, this project was the follow-up after Twista's basic debut, Adrenaline Rush from '97. This introduced some Chicago area rap artists, Liffey Stokes and then Maze. And, they handled the job pretty well on this project. I mean, it's basically like part 2 of Adrenaline Rush. It's produced by the legendary Trackster, who is a mainstay with Twista, and that's kind of a good thing considering how many top-notch beats that they've had, like the title track Adrenaline Rush, and I think he's been on just about every album that Twista's done. So there's definitely, anytime you think of like Twista, you should be thinking of the legendary Trackster. But so this project, when it comes to the singles, it's kind of difficult just because Wikipedia doesn't really talk about the promotion that this project got. But I think under the impression, from what I remember, it actually had a couple, like I'm thinking at least 2 singles that came to this project. Spotify seems to think that the most popular song is Legit Ballers, and that kind of leads me to believe that that was the single, but then the other one was In Your World. Both of these are extremely stellar tracks. I mean, the production is great. Twista is on these songs. It's not like some presentation type ones that, the main star like Eminem or Ludacris or Twista, they're not actually on there. Twista's on these songs. That's the thing. At least on this project, he is. So I'm kind of glad for that. I know Mobstability 2, he's not on there as much, but that's just kind of the situation. So, but both of these, I mean, Legit Ballers sounds just like something that Twista normally does, like Do You with Do or Die or something. I mean, Twista's really good at doing those type records. I mean, he does it all the time. He's done it with like Wetter and the similar joint to Wetter on Adrenaline Rush, and then like he's done it on Category F5. I mean, he does it just about every time. Twista knows how to make, joints for the females, and there are a couple on this project, which I'm not quite as stable as sure as to the other 2 crew members if they handle it that well, but I think it's probably just, you take it just like Do or Die. I think they honestly do. But if you're looking for more songs like Legit Ballers, if that one's just like a real feel-good type song, I would say Front Porch, with Danny Boy, who's actually been on songs with Tupac. So Front Porch, Smoke With You, and Dreams are all more songs that are just like that. And they work. And that's the thing. I don't know. I mean, call me crazy, but Twista kind of reminds me of like Tupac in a lot of ways. This is mellow and kind of summery vibe that he typically has. When I think of like the Outlaws, or I think of Do or Die or Bone Thugs, those type people, I think of Twista also. So that's kind of, I mean, it really works. That's the thing, is this album's going to get like a pretty high score just because of the execution. I mean, the production is definitely nothing to complain about, but then on top of that, obviously these cats, can rap. So that's kind of the situation. So once we get past the singles and the stuff, there's not too many guest rappers on here. I don't really know who Twista would have collaborated with at the time. I mean, really, I would have thought I can't really think of too many people that would have worked for that. I think for the most part, it's just people on the hooks. But yeah, so an interesting song to talk about is just the fact that Crook County is actually a Bone Thugs and Harmony diss. So they actually included that on the album, which you'd think it would land on like an EP or something, but it actually shows up on the album. The thing about it is the record is actually good. I mean, sometimes diss records, because they're just usually like a street song or something, they don't make like the project, but this one actually did. And it's this song, I mean, it gets me excited. I mean, that's the thing, it's actually an exciting song. Crook County, it just has kind of a slinky and real creeping type sound to it, and it works. So Crook County, Mob Up, songs like that, Loyalty are all similar songs that are just like that. um, So yeah, just depending upon what you think as far as like Bone Thugs, a diss to them, that's kind of what you got. Um, so yeah, I had some noise making ones on here. I would definitely say that there's at least 3 or 4. The In Your World was on the Doctor Doolittle soundtrack. Legit Ballers had a music video, I think, and charted pretty well. Crook County was the Bone Thugs disc. The title track, Mobstability, sounds just like a West Coast song. I mean, I don't know where they got that sample from, but I think I remember hearing it before. And there's just a lot of good stuff. Smoke With You is, of course, a good smoke song. So I'm going to actually talk about some good smoking songs. Like I was saying before, I think I mentioned it when I had the burger, but Smoke With You, obviously. But then I would also say Legit Ballers, Front Porch, just some of these In Your World. I mean, good enough. I mean, considering that Twista and them are smokers, it's really not too difficult to kind of lay out the songs that would actually be good for that sort of thing. So those are some of the ones I listed that would work, but it's really not too many bad moments just for that kind of vibe. So, but I mean, this album stands on its own. I think that's just kind of like a good thing to know is it's I mean, the only thing I would really suggest that it's not is just introspective. It doesn't really seem to have, like, I think they talked about George Bush on the second Mobstability, but it's mostly just lackadaisical rap music, just kind of going through the motions, car music, women music, smoking music, club music, that sort of thing. But, in no way, shape, or form would I really complain about it. I mean, you'd think I would, just because, sometimes those, people always complain that it's just not lyrical enough. But, I mean, it fits right at home. It just, like I was saying, is it's not too introspective. So, that's just kind of the thing. So I'm gonna give this album basically like a 9 out of 10, because I wound up liking 10 songs out of 14. I know that should basically be a 10 considering how much I liked. But I don't know. I feel like if I give it a 10, I don't want to hand out 10s just that easily. I think the fact that it got a 9 designates, I don't give out 9s that much anymore either. I mean, most of the time I'm giving stuff like a 6 or a 5.5 or something. So this is a very stellar project. And I think uh, the only real weakness to it is just the fact that it's so underground. I don't, for one thing, I don't know how many people are going to find out about it. And then for another, whether or not, the way kind of almost dated production is just, for people who are just hooked on trap or hooked on like music from after 2012 or so. That's just kind of the situation. But I think it fits right in. I mean, this works in like the Juggalo community. It works in Midwest rap. It can work in West Coast rap. It can work in summer vibes. It can work with women. So there's just plenty of things that there's really not that many angles this album doesn't have. So I would just kind of have to say that that's a highlight. So obviously, the only another thing I could bitch about a bit is just the fact that the social score is really not that well. But Twista was kind of low key back in the '90s. I mean, it wasn't until like Kamikaze that he started blowing up. So just for me to think of, like the social score, I would have to say it probably would get like a 5, just because it did have 2 singles, but and the Bone Thugs disc. But I just feel like, it's popular amongst like your circle probably, but as far as like trying to, introduce this project, it just seems kind of like it'd be a little bit more difficult to do. But that social score is not the biggest thing to complain about. It just in terms of how others will appreciate it. So yeah, so I give this album a 9, 5 social. I definitely recommend even purchasing this project, not just getting it digitally.